Why your current self-concept is blocking your magnetic field from success. What if the reason success keeps slipping away isn't bad luck, timing, or effort, but the version of you that you still believe you are? What if your current identity is quietly pushing away everything you say you want? Not because you're incapable, but because deep down, your system is still wired for a completely different life. Most people think they're chasing success, but they don't realize they're also resisting it at the same time. There's an invisible barrier, not outside, but within. It's built from old beliefs, past experiences, and quiet assumptions about who you are. And that barrier doesn't just slow things down, it redirects your entire reality without you even noticing. Your life isn't random, it's a loop. And that loop is controlled by your self-concept, the story you keep telling yourself about who you are. If that story says you struggle, doubt, or fall short, your actions, decisions, and even your energy will match that story perfectly, not because you want it, but because it feels familiar. Your nervous system remembers everything, not just events, but emotions, reactions, and identities. It stores patterns like, this is who I am, and this is what happens to me. And once that pattern is set, your body starts choosing experiences that confirm it, even when better options are right in front of you. Think of it like a magnet. If your inner identity says, I'm not ready, I'm not worthy, or this never works for me, then success doesn't stick. It gets pushed away, not because it isn't available, but because it doesn't match your internal frequency. You're not attracting what you want, you're attracting what you believe you are. This is why so many people feel stuck in constant effort. They try harder, push more, force outcomes, but nothing truly shifts. Because effort can't override identity. You can work 10 times harder, but if your core belief hasn't changed, your results will always snap back to the same level. There's often a silent conflict happening inside you. One part wants growth, success, expansion, while another part is trying to keep you safe, small, and familiar. And when those two are in conflict, the safe version usually wins, because it feels predictable, even if it's limiting. Your comfort zone feels safe, but it's actually just familiar. It's built from repetition, not truth. Even if that space feels small, frustrating, or limiting, your system prefers it because it knows what to expect. Stepping outside of it doesn't feel exciting at first, it feels uncertain, and that uncertainty can feel uncomfortable, even when it's leading you towards something better. Every past experience leaves a small mark, not just in your mind, but in how your body reacts. Moments of rejection, failure, or disappointment quietly shape how you expect life to unfold. So even when new chances appear, part of you holds back. Not because you want to, but because your system is trying to protect you from feeling that same pain again. The way you see yourself doesn't stay inside. It shows up in everything. In your posture, your tone, your decisions, even in what you tolerate. And people respond to that energy. Opportunities respond to that energy. It's like your inner image gets projected outward, and the world reflects it right back to you in ways you don't always notice. That's why the same kind of situations keep showing up. Different faces, different places, but somehow the same result. It can feel confusing, like bad luck or coincidence, but it's usually a pattern. And that pattern is coming from the identity you're holding on to. Until that changes, the outcome keeps finding a way to repeat itself. There comes a moment where something inside you starts questioning everything. You've tried harder, pushed more, stayed patient, but things still don't fully shift. That frustration you feel isn't weakness, it's a signal. It's your awareness waking up, showing you that something deeper needs to change, not just your actions on the surface. You begin to realize that the version of you running your life was created in a different time, built from past experiences, old emotions, and outdated beliefs. And even though your goals have changed, that old identity is still quietly in control. Not because it's right, but because it's been repeated long enough to feel real. The truth is, identity isn't fixed. It's something you've practiced over time. Every thought, every reaction, every belief has reinforced a certain version of you. But if it was learned, it can be changed. You're not stuck. You've just been consistent with the same story, and that means you can start choosing a new one. Real change starts quietly. It's not a sudden breakthrough, it's small shifts repeated daily. You begin noticing your old reactions and choosing something slightly different. Maybe you pause instead of overthinking, or trust instead of doubting. At first, it feels unfamiliar, even uncomfortable, but that discomfort isn't wrong. It's your system updating. Each time you respond differently, you're teaching your mind and body a new way to exist. Instead of chasing outcomes, you start focusing on how you feel. You connect with a version of yourself that feels steady, clear, and grounded. Not perfect, just more aligned. You don't wait for results to feel good. You practice feeling stable now, and slowly, that feeling becomes familiar. The more your body recognizes it, the less you fall back into the old patterns that used to control you. You stop forcing things the way you used to. There's less pressure, less urgency to prove something. Your actions become more natural, more intentional. You still move forward, but it feels lighter, like you're working with your energy instead of against it. That shift from force to alignment changes how everything unfolds, because now your actions and your beliefs are finally moving in the same direction. Opportunities don't suddenly appear out of nowhere. They were always there. But now you're able to see them. Conversations feel easier, ideas come more clearly, and you start noticing chances you once overlooked. It's not about luck, it's about awareness. When your internal state shifts, your attention shifts with it. And that changes what you recognize as possible. There's a subtle shift in your energy. You're no longer pushing so hard or chasing constantly. Instead, things begin to come toward you in a more natural way. Not instantly, not perfectly, but steadily. Because now, what you want is starting to match who you believe you are. And when there's no inner conflict, attraction begins to feel effortless instead of exhausting. Your external world starts reflecting what's changed inside you. The way you respond, the choices you make, the people you connect with, it all begins to shift. At first, it's subtle, but over time, the difference becomes clear. Because your reality doesn't create your identity shapes your reality. And now, that identity is finally evolving. You begin to feel a quiet kind of confidence, not loud or attention-seeking, just steady. You don't feel the need to rush anymore. There's less panic, less second-guessing. You trust your decisions more. And even when things aren't perfect, you don't fall apart the way you used to. That calmness becomes your strength, guiding how you move through everything. You slowly stop trying to control every outcome. You focus on what you can do, and you allow the rest to unfold. That doesn't mean giving up, it means trusting more. You realize that forcing everything only created stress. And when you let go of that pressure, you create space for better outcomes to come in naturally. You stop chasing perfect moments and start valuing consistent ones. Small changes, repeated daily, begin to shape your life in real ways. It's not about doing everything right, it's about showing up differently each day. And over time, those small shifts build momentum. They create a version of you that feels stable, not temporary. You begin to trust the process, even when things move slowly, because now you understand. It's not about instant results. It's about becoming someone who naturally creates those results. That kind of growth takes time, but it lasts longer. And the more you trust it, the less you feel the need to rush. The old version of you doesn't vanish overnight, it fades. Each time you choose a new response, it loses a little more control. Until one day, you realize it doesn't feel like you anymore. It's just something you used to believe about yourself, not who you actually are now. Your standards start to rise naturally. What you accept, what you tolerate, what you allow into your life, it all changes. Not because you're forcing it, but because it no longer fits. You begin choosing better for yourself without overthinking it, and that alone shifts your entire environment. Growth begins to feel easier. You're still putting in effort, but it doesn't feel heavy anymore. There's more flow, less resistance. Even challenges don't hit the same way. You handle them with more clarity and less fear. Because now you trust yourself in a way you didn't before. At some point, you stop focusing on change and you start living it. The new version of you feels natural. You're not trying to become someone else anymore. You already are. And that feeling of alignment shows up in everything you do without effort. Success doesn't always look loud or dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet. It's peace, clarity, stability. It's waking up without that constant pressure or doubt. It's feeling like your life finally makes sense. And that kind of success feels deeper because it's built from within. So now the choice is yours. Stay connected to the version of you that feels safe but limited, or step into the one that actually aligns with the life you want. If this made you think differently, comment "I'm ready" and start shifting. One small decision at a time.